Well, hello. Today we have Shlomo stories from Reb Shlomo Carlebach, and with Susan Yael Misinai. She's the compiler of these stories. Okay, so how a great light is born. How a great light is born. Let's do this reading from this Sefer. Reb Menachem Mendel of Rimanov was one of the highest souls of the past few hundred years. Many stories have been told as to why his father, a simple man, was privileged to have such a holy son. This is one version. Reb Menachem Mendel's father was a very poor man. But every person, even the poorest, has one day in his life when commercially and spiritually he can become rich. On that day, the gates are open to him, and suddenly he knows just what to do. So there was an opening. Reb Mendel's father heard that a certain person had gone bankrupt and was selling his house. That one day he had a chance to buy a palace for 10,000 rubles. So he went around to different people and told them he wanted to buy the house. If you give me 10,000 rubles, I'll pay you back. And they thought, why not? He's an honest man. With 10,000 rubles in hand, he went on his way to conclude the deal. An investment that could make him prosperous overnight. But in those days, sadly enough, a landowner had great power over his tenant's life. If you owed somebody money for rent, that person could kill you. As Reb Mendel's father was going toward the palace, he saw a landowner chaining a little boy and girl to either side of his wagon, like two slaves. It was a heartbreaking scene. The nobleman was shouting and the children were crying, obviously terrified of what he would do to them. The Yiddele interrupted the landowner to ask, "What's going on? What have they done?" "Their father hasn't paid rent in 3 years. He owes me 10,000 rubles, so I'm taking his children to sell them as slaves." Without thinking twice, the Jew asked, "May I buy them?" "Sure, if you have the money. It would save me the trouble of going to the marketplace. Here are the 10,000 rubles. Let them go." After cutting the children free, the Yiddle blessed them and helped them find their way safely home. But then he himself had nowhere to go. What would he tell his wife, not to mention those from whom he'd borrowed the 10,000 rubles? "Not only am I no richer, but I owe more money than I will ever see in a lifetime, and have no means to pay anyone back." It was clear to him that now the children's fate or Siberia awaited him if he did not repay his loans. Reb Mendel's father was so desperate that he went into the Beis Medrash and sat down at a table alone to study. The book was open before him, but he was lost in thought when another man entered the sanctuary, a well-to-do man, perhaps a traveler. The gentleman took out a Gemara, a Talmud, and sat across from the Yiddele to learn. From time to time the stranger looked up at him. Finally, he said to the Yiddilah, I see you can't concentrate on your learning. Have you troubles of some sort? No, it is nothing. Don't worry about it. Tell me, perhaps I can help you. The Yiddilah was downcast. He had to talk to somebody, so he told the whole story. The stranger listened. You have no problem. I'll give you the 10,000 rubles right now. Just sell me the mitzvah, the good deed of buying 2 children out of slavery. Are you mad? My deed, and you want to buy it for money? I can't do that. They continued to learn in silence, but the Yiddilah was still distressed. He didn't know what to do. The rich man suddenly said, I'll tell you what. Don't sell me the whole mitzvah. Just give me half the good deed for 10,000 rubles. Just give me half the good deed for 10,000 rubles. No, I can't. It's just not right. Then a fourth. Please, I realize that you want to help me, but I cannot accept. They continued to learn and to bargain. Finally, the stranger closed his book and stood up. This is your last chance. Just give me 1%. You'll still have 99% left for the world to come. The poor man simply shook his head no. The well-dressed stranger got up to leave, but stopped when he reached the door. I want you to know, he said to the poor Yiddilah, you have shown great courage. I am Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet. Come when all the gates were opened to you to test your goodness. When you gave up your chance for fortune to save those children, there was a tornado in heaven, because whenever something really good happens, Brother Satan comes to knock it down. He claimed that you were a fake. Maybe you did something good for the moment, but you would regret it. You didn't really do anything for God, so I decided to prove it. For giving up all hope of worldly riches to save another's children, and then not selling your mitzvah, you brought such joy to heaven. I bless you with a son who will bring light to the whole world. And that's how we have the birth of a great light of Reb Menachem Mendel of Rimanov, Reb Menachem Mendel of Rimanov, one of the highest souls of the past few hundred years. How a great light is born. So here we have, this book is Shlomo's stories, Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach's stories, from Jason Aronson. Thank you for listening. Take care.